Rick and Bay Cortez are definitely no strangers here on the channel, because if you've been following the channel at any point in time, you've been hearing Hellcast Metal Podcast, and we've made famous, I guess, at least one track here on the classic in my world, the Sadistic Intent Resurrection EP, with the track Asphyxiation, replacing it with our own Hellcast ID. And that's exactly the spirit that I think Sadistic Intent embodies, a very underground one, a very death metal one, and that's why it gives me great pleasure to dive deep in with Rick and Bay Cortez here on Into the Darkness. Welcome, fellas, out of the darkest depths of Dark Realm Records in Downey, California, correct?
That's right. Here we are from the bowels of Dark Realm Records. Great to meet you, man.
Is that the sign above the door?
Yeah.
So citing specifically the Resurrection EP, it is Dark Realm Records on the back. And then Dark Realm Records is obviously a record store that you're obviously in currently. And so, you know, there's plenty of ways we could start this conversation, but one that's always kind of interested me, you know, following the band, loving it, and, you know, even having the pleasure to share the stage with you multiple times. I've always been curious about that dynamic, though, to have a record label, but then a record store, and then as well as be, you know, colleagues in a band and stuff. So where did it brew to be like, hey, let's have a record label and a record store?
We did have a fanzine with our original vocalist, Enrique Chavez. 83, 84, the early years of metal for us. There was a little shop, and we were just, you know, reminiscing the good old heavy metal days. We're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a store and you know, we could spread metal? And we opened up our doors back in 1994. I honestly don't remember the exact date anymore, but yeah, certainly back in 94.
And that's when Resurrection came out, so we put the CD out and we used it to trade for merchandise.
Right, yeah.
And then we were getting all this stuff in, so we had to sell it. So the store kind of worked out perfect.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's what I mean, man. That's because that's the total underground spirit. Like, I don't know if it needs to be slightly explained, because maybe not everybody understands it like you or I do, that, like, you know, the underground, like, label, a lot of times to distribute is through, like, trading with other labels who are they're just all these fans, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, a lot of people cite, like, the tape trading days of death metal, and nobody brings up, though, how much that spirit wasn't just on the fan end, it's also, like, on the business end, really. I mean, that's what the labels are, they're the business for the underground. And so, like, so yeah, so that's interesting then, too, because it's noteworthy that your store then is one that is, like, of pure metal, like you like, correct? Like, you're not stock. You can't get. I couldn't even tell you a bad band that even make a joke to say, but, like, I mean, right? It's underground metal. Like, I can go and get Asphyx if they've got a new album coming out.
Yeah, like, I mean, we carry, like, classic heavy metal too. Of course, you gotta have it, you know, for the youngsters, you know. Yeah. And some kind of heavy crust bands, you know, but mainly metal. You know, we kind of, that's what we're into, and that's what we sell, you know.
When we first opened up, people in general, they kind of looked at this music as, at the time, like, hey, well, that music's pretty much kind of dying out, and we're like, no, it's not, man. It's still alive. It's not dead. And so we were pretty much carrying a lot of death and black metal and, you know, thrash metal, and, you know, we have a different style of metal. You know, again, we still like the old school heavy metal, you know, the stuff we grew up with, and some of the more hardcore punk stuff, a lot of the older school, heavier stuff, faster bands.
Is there anything, though, that you have that's like, oh God, like, but we gotta have it, you know, because it's gonna appease some sort of crowd, or?
I can't really think of anything.
I mean, I think it's kind of natural to have some stuff that's, you know, maybe it's not going to be your favorite band per se, you know, because you got different stuff. But I mean, for the most part, I think it's, I I'm not really like embarrassed. Like, oh shit, we have this one band. It's kind of embarrassing.
Behind the other seat.
Hide that one.
Well,
for the most part, it's we
don't have that much stuff for like the posers or anything. No.
I mean, it's like we're not carrying like winger or something.
Well, that is kind of like Bay said though. I was fishing. In a way, I was fishing for because. Dude, it's a lost term. You can't, like, the kids now, they have themselves at least verbally prepared to talk themselves out of, like, being called a poser. Like, it doesn't matter in 2020 to be called a poser. And it's like, yes, it does. It probably matters more than ever. I'm just not a kid to know, like, what would make you truly one. And, like, and then adults kicking in with me. It's like, I don't know. Maybe he just likes shitty bands, but then he does like a cool band every once in a while.
Yeah, some of these kids, it's not their fault. Like they were born too late,
Right.
They kind of got into this funny bands, but they're kind of bridge bands. And once they come in here, we start kind of like showing them, the ways, and they start learning. It's kind of like you gotta teach them, and we've seen a lot of kids grow up. They come in here and they don't really know that much, but after a while, they get into it, and they even tell us, like, I come here, I didn't recognize any of these bands. But now they're picking them out.
Yeah, like, for example, like back in the early days when we opened up, one of the examples of the band back then was, like, Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
That's I don't really like his music, to be honest with you. We never carried his music, by the way. Well, not really. What do you call it? But, he was a big name in whatever music or revenue.
Of course.
And people would come in here and they'll be like, hey, Marilyn Manson, and they're like, oh, well, we don't really have that, but we have other bands, and if you're looking for dark stuff, and again, there was a bunch of different black metal bands, for example.
Right.
And sometimes some of those people, like, they got into metal. And next thing you know, they'd be like, fuck, I mean, listen to Marilyn Manson no more. This is a fucking real shit, so.
I mean, I know there's god-awful shit that I had to go to find sadistic intent, or, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't just land up in your BMG catalog or your radio or the things that are just plastered in your face to get into metal. The Big Brother, whoever has the cool records, shit like that, So, I mean, and that's what makes me even more curious, though, about your, I guess, like, family dynamic, because, you guys are brothers, and it's one thing to be brothers in a band and musicians that own a store then together that then are just, like, clearly not just owning a music store for a business sake, but more passionate. So, like, music is largely, like, in your blood. Like, so what are the origins of that? Like, what are your parents like and stuff? Like, like, it wasn't obviously always death metal.
One of our cousins, he was older than us, so, I remember, again, those years, 1980, 81. As a matter of fact, he gave us, I remember, a gift. It was Black Sabbath, The Mob Rules, which is a great album with Ronnie James Dio. And to this day, I still listen to that record. But yeah, he was into metal, and I remember he was going to concerts back then. And, we're a little too young to hang out. I guess my parents, I can't blame them, There was stories about my cousin when he party a little too hard and, pass on the porch, didn't make it in the house, those kind of stories. And back then he would tell us, hey, man, my friend's got a heavy metal band. And he would walk to the corner, watch these guys practice in the garage. And I remember one day, another occasion, we go back to visit. It was my mom's sister, my aunt, and that was her kid. And I still remember, she made us food and we were eating stuff. And again, my cousin, he's about to take off. He goes, hey, I'm going to watch my friend's band. They're about to practice. We're like, yeah. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, well, what are they called? Like, Slayer. And back then it wasn't like, oh, shit, what Slayer? What the fuck? It was like, oh, that's cool. Okay. We'd never seen a real band yet. We were kids.
Yeah.
So we were pretty young at the time, So it wasn't like, oh, I just seen fucking Black Sabbath last night. It wasn't like that. I'd never seen anybody.
You didn't see anybody live.
we're kids. We used to have like a little, collection of,
like 10, 11 years old or something.
Yeah,
right.
So, we were into like the bands from back then, some Judas Priest stuff, and, we like AC/DC, we like Black Sabbath,
Iron Maiden.
Yeah, old school bands, right? Now you fast forward to 1983, and Show No Mercy was brand new, it just came out. And hearing that for the first time, I was like, fuck that. Evil Has No Boundaries, that beginning thrash beat, and that.
Now,
I was like, fuck, I was blown away.
Did you know, you knew it was them, though, right? That was the same band that you saw.
Yeah, it was like.
You were just following, you were following it through the time.
Yeah, but the thing is, like the early stuff that, from what I remember standing in front of the garage, it was more like a heavy metal, like, kind of like a Judas Priest.
Where in this, you're obviously becoming a fan of music. Where did you then start to want to play music? Like, did you guys know piano as a kid? Like, did your parents make you do it? Like, and then bass. How the hell did you get stuck with bass?
You know what? I used to play guitar in the beginning.
Really?
And we couldn't find the bass player. And I was like, fuck it, I'll play bass.
You reported to duty.
But my mom's the one that bought us our first guitar.
I think it was 4th or 5th grade. I was in elementary school, and this lady walks in, and she's like, "Hey, we're going to be doing music lessons, and are any of you kids want to play music?" And I was one of the kids, raised his hand, "Hey, me, I want to play." And so I'm okay, and I remember I started off playing trumpet actually back then, and they take us to the auditorium, and they had a stage and everything, and it was an auditorium. But the cool thing is, somehow, I don't know how the fuck, but I actually learned how to read notes back then.
Yeah.
And I was using symbols, and now it's like, fuck, I don't remember that stuff no more at all. But I remember, I would know, like, hey, that means E flat, that means G, that means, you know what I mean? I knew the little symbols somehow back then, which is learning. And but the point is, I think starting with music back then, it kind of gave me like a little bit of like the basics for the future,
Totally.
Even though it's not metal, but there's still like like a musical concept, that kind of
totally.
The basics are still there for us,
I think it took away that side. I didn't take any music classes, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's very helpful. It can really help you craft something for maybe even darker. And honestly, that's interesting that you bring that up, because because clearly there's like that point is like attenuation, right? So like.
But I'm sorry. I'm just kind of like a little flashback.
No, go
as far as like the moment, like I think you're asking for when was that moment that fucking you're gonna do Sadistic Intent, right?
I guess so.
Well, that happened, after graduation, culmination from junior high school. I used to go to Nimitz in Huntington Park. Then I went to Bell High School, and I remember walking into school and all these fucking metalheads, like long ass hair, and the metal chicks, with the fucking studded bells, the spandex. It was just like 80s style.
Right.
And all the metal shirts. There was a bunch of metal shirts. Oh shit! Oh cool! Fuck yeah! And anyway, so I remember back then, I had a Photoshop, and they used to mix the grade levels back then. So you had 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade all in one class. Right. And I remember there was this guy in my class, and he had a leather jacket, the denim vest cut off, the jean jacket, and he had a big Venom black metal pin. And I still remember like looking at that. I was like, hey man, that shit looks pretty satanic. So I asked him, hey dude, you ever heard of Slayer? And he's like, yeah, my brother's in the band. I'm like, what? Oh shit. He's like, oh, you don't believe me? He takes out his wallet, and then he takes out his ID. He gives me his ID. It was John Araya. Wow. I'm like, oh shit, that's your brother. And he's like, you like Slayer? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Is that the dude that did Blood Come? Or is that Tom Araya?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Was Blood Come a band yet?
Not yet. Not at first.
Okay.
That came a little bit after. Yeah. I remember John, he was passing out flyers one day. It was a Slayer show. My brother's playing Slayer, and getting out the flyers and metalheads in school. And I got one of the flyers. Oh, check it. And I still remember it basically had the Slayer logo with the pentagram, the swords. And it said, the fastest and heaviest metal band in the USA. And I was like, oh, shit. Back then, I never thought about it, right? But when I read that, it just kind of it was so inspiring. And I was like, fuck, that's cool. That means from LA to New York to Chicago to Florida to Texas, Ohio. Fucking Slayer. These guys are the fastest, the fucking heaviest band.
Right.
And I started to barrier, babe, fuck that. We're going to start a band. We're going to be the fastest. We're going to be the heaviest. Come on, let's do this shit. Let's start a band. And that was the moment. That was the very moment right there. But it's not magic, Right. It takes a while to, you got to get all your gear, and it's not cheap, like bass earlier.
Not only that, you got to learn how to play.
Yeah, you got to pretty much, So it's like, that was 1984. So by the time we got our shit together to we felt comfortable to play in front of people, it was 1986. So that's when we first started playing in front of people back then.
So Sadistic's essentially your first and only band?
Bands.
No, we started off. We were also before Sadistic Intent. We were in a band called Devastation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And here's the thing. Look.
Then you heard
when we started that band. Yeah, we basically how can I say it? We have been playing with these other guys too, and I guess what happened, to be honest with you, basically the beginning, the first band that we started off, they started saying that my brother and I, that we were too metal, and they were saying that pretty much metal's not really cool anymore. That fucking we had to go in a punk rock direction, and that we're not really fucking into punk. Yeah, so they were saying we're not punk rock enough, and and basically the guys, they said the band's over or whatever. We're gonna, that's it. The band's done.
Right.
We're fuck. So
pretty much kicked us out.
Yeah, it was pretty much we pretty much got the boot and shit, And I guess we were too metal, but my brother and I were like, fuck that, we're into metal. Yeah, we are. Here's the thing. Back in LA, the glam rock scene was starting to blow up. The guys are putting on lipstick and putting on blush.
Hell, even Slayer did.
Yeah. So metal. It was like, me and my brother, we were already into heavy shit though. By '86, we were already into Dark Angel. We were into fucking Venom and Merciful Fate, of course. We were into Exodus. We were into fucking Creator. The fucking, Destruction and Sodom.
Right.
So we were into the heavy stuff.
Not Motley Crue.
Even the heavy bands, they started changing. Let's just be real. Like Celtic Frost, they kind of turned into a glam band after a while.
Tried to be glam.
Yeah, and I remember even Destruction changed. They got rid of Schmear for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, crack brain.
My Sharona, So for us, we want to hear fucking satanic metal.
Right.
We want to hear.
I think even Venom started.
It was kind of like I remember. Yeah. Back then, you got to think about the scene. Everybody was pretty much young at that time. Everybody was pretty much.
You're very impressionable, right? These are your heroes, and they're letting you down almost.
Even
Primeval.
These capes all glittery and stuff.
Venom would have been like not Cast in Stone. Calm Before the Storm. And
there was a record where Kronos went solo, and on the back they all King t-shirts on. It was like with his leopard pants. And
Mantis solo was really a dark hour.
I guess all the chicks were there. They were into,
some people might get upset with me for saying this, but I remember even Bathory when they changed. You know,
yeah.
I like the first 4 Bathroom records. It was like fucking, you know, it was heavy. It was dark as fuck.
What?
And when it changed, I mean, again, I understand now. It's like, hey, everybody's older. We're more a little open, you know.
Right.
But back then, it was like, fuck, what happened? I want another Bathroom, you know.
Yeah.
And he was singing. You know,
and then we got together like about 10 of us and bought the record, and we're like, fuck yeah, Bathroom, throw it on. And it was all and it's like, that's the intro. And the whole record played, nobody said anything. It was like, the other side. We threw it on.
I remember it was like a little party. Hey, the new Bathroom, fuck yeah, we're going to listen to this shit. And it was like, dude, are you sure that's Bathroom? So it was this Bathroom in a little circle. It was like, fuck. Okay. So, you know, the point we're making is back then metal, it was kind of changing, you know?
Right,
it was changing. And
I think the labels are pushing the bands to change too.
You know what was starting to happen? Basically, at that time, and here in LA, you know, Slayer, they were pretty much saying how punk rock inspired them. So we're like, oh shit, well, these guys like punk, let's, you know, check it out. Next thing you know, you start discovering bands like Discharge, and you start discovering fucking DRI when they barely came out, you know, the
Doctor No.
You know, there was, Dr. No, there was, you know, Final Conflict, and there was, there was a bunch of, like, the first Suicidal Tendencies record.
It was, like, pretty heavy.
Yeah, you know, so that scene, that music, it was like, oh shit, this is still pretty heavy.
Right.
And so a lot of metalheads back in those days, they were starting to cut their hair. Oh, I'm gonna get a mohawk, and I'm gonna become a skinhead now, and you know what I mean. So that it was becoming like getting more steam, or whatever. It was getting popular, and metal. It was not really cool no more. Oh, you know, what do you guys play that music for? And we were still metal, though. You know,
like the glam scene was blowing up, huh?
Well, you know, I mean, here in LA, I mean, metal kind of split, you know. So you had like, you know, you had guys. Well, you know, the fucking glam. That's where all the chicks are at. And, you know, that was kind of the excuse. You know, they go to Hollywood. And, you know, but you know, that's the way it was. You know, that was basically the way it was, and our scene was kind of like just a bunch of dudes. It was all rowdy and shit.
Yeah, a couple of big chicks.
You know what I mean? It was like fucking, you know,
linebackers.
You know, it was you know, again, it was a little tough. And another thing, we went to Hollywood, you know, with our band. And we're like, hey, can we play the clubs? You know, we want to play the, you know, with the real stage, the real PA system, and they made us play our tape. And like, oh, you guys are good, but we don't really want this music here. Like, oh shit. So we could not play the clubs. You know, Sunset Strip, it was like, you know, it's welcome if you're fucking, you know, if your style of Poison, or if your style of, you know, Guns N' Roses. Or,
exactly.
If you're, you know, the Hollywood style, cool, but if you're like Sadistic Intent, you're not welcome here. No. You know, like, fuck. So we pretty much...
Morbid Faith would not rock the house.
Yeah, so we pretty much had to play like backyard parties, you know? We could rent halls, but, you know, we're all young and broke as fuck. So it was kind of hard to rent halls, but we did once in a while. And so I remember we played backyard parties, right? I was like, fuck you, we'll play backyards, and that's cool. And, you know, again, we're still in high school. You know, we're still, you know, teenagers, we're young. And that was cool for us. Like, fuck yeah, we're going to play backyards and be fucking, it's going to be cool. Party, right? We're going to party and
like
shit.
You go to East LA or like the other neighborhoods, it felt like you were like going far, you know?
Right.
But like when you was young, it was like, you didn't have cars, you had to borrow cars just to take the gear, you know?
I remember we were playing one of our early shows. And, you know, and back then, like we were talking about earlier, how the punk scene was, like, you know, gaining lots of momentum or whatever. See, here's the thing. Punk and metal, it was, if you think about it, it was like two different subcultures, you know? The punks had their scene going for a while, and metalheads had going, you know, their scene for a while. And when it kind of sort of started crossing paths, whatever, it was kind of like, there was a little friction there, you know what I mean? I think the metalheads were a little bit more cool, a little more open to it. Like, hey, well, you know, we're into like Slayer and shit like that, and they like punk, so I guess we do too now. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that.
They were more open to the...
Metalheads are more, they're more friendly. And the punk rockers are kind of more like, fuck metal, or punk rock only. It was kind of like, so, you know, we played, when we did our early shows, we were kind of forced to play with punk bands because that was the thing going on, right? It was like, hey, you guys are heavy, you're going to play with these fucking bands, because that's the fast shit, that's the heavy shit. You're going to play with punk bands. So it was a majority of punk bands. And I remember, you know, it was kind of hit and miss as far as like the response. You know, people could kind of sometimes like be kind of assholes. You know, you know, so it was kind of hit and miss those early days. But you know, I mean, you had some good shows. It was good and bad. But I remember one day we were playing. It was in Southgate. I still remember this gig, and it was packed. It had to be a couple hundred heads at least in a backyard, and there was like fucking pits, you know, circle pits going on. And I still remember some guys jumping off the garage. We're like, oh shit, these guys fucking jumping off the roof.
They're jumping into the pit.
Like into the pit. Yeah, it was like nuts. It was nuts. It was like, whoa, it was crazy. And I remember right in front of me, this dude, real long ass hair. He was like fucking into it. And after we finished, he shook my hand. Hey man, you guys are fucking bad. I'm like, thanks, dude. What's your name? He goes, my name's Jesse. I'm from Terrorizer. And back then, I remember Terrorizer. The sister, Jesse's sister, had lent the tapes to a friend. That friend had to another friend. They lent us the tapes. And when I heard those guys back then, I was like, fuck.
You know, I didn't even realize it. I never heard it. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because it was like that super, like, that blast beat. And I was like, fuck, I thought we were fast. We're kind of like, you know, like a thrash can. You know, we're kind of like, so, you know, to get a blast.
Like a machine.
It was like, shit, you know. And again, back then, you know, we were still, that was kind of our mentality back then. We're going to play fast. And, you know.
Right.
And I remember Jesse was very deep in the underground. Yeah. He was writing with like fucking everybody.
He was in a fanzine and stuff.
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, Filth magazine.
And we go to his house, and his drawers were for clothes. Instead of clothes, he had nothing but demos, man. Fuck, I was like, I used to buy like 10 packs of tapes. And I was like, hey, Jesse, can I record some shit?
Nice.
And we were recording all kinds of stuff. He started giving us these little ads for the underground bands, and then like we were totally into it, man. We started writing. We would get together. We write like bags of mail like every week. It was like a ritual, man.
Yeah, so we pretty much. That's when we pretty much started getting into the underground networking and writing with people around the world.
And send me back my stamps days.
Oh yeah.
Glue on them.
Yeah. And then you rub off the postmark, right? Then with the glue. Yeah.
Yeah. I get water right there. Take out the little seal. Use them.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of the underground networking for us. And next thing you know, our tape trading. And
I mean, the scene, it was a lot smaller, too. I mean, you kind of knew the main people, you know, in the scene back in the days right there. It wasn't like how it is today, but it was cool, man. Like, you really had to be into it. You had to really work to be part of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a mouse click away, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you had to like put in the time to like build your chops and like redeem yourself. You know, so that's interesting because I was gonna say that like the very early sadistic stuff is definitely more like there's punk riffs in there for sure. Like songs like "Speak for Yourself," like that's a different dynamic than where we are today, or where like, you know, a lot of the classic studio stuff would be. But in a way, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same mentality.
We still have that element.
It's still metal.
I mean, you listen to a song like you know, like "Condemn the Misery." We still have those kind of riffs, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a punk.
It has a lot of energy, you know, and we're kind of like, I mean, we like that too, you know, and it kind of makes, I don't know, our style, you know, because like, it's more of a loose style of playing, you know. It's like a lot of the metal people can't really play it because they're like kind of tight in a way.
Right.
It's kind of blends in together. I mean,
I guess we're basically metal, but like old metal, like the.
I mean, it's you know, we tried out like other guitarists and plays, but they can't do those beats because they're like taught to play a certain way. It's a loose kind of feeling, you know.
Subculture, though, that was an interesting word, because then we kind of made fun and said, what is our taste of rock and roll? And I think that's why metal and punk work, because metal is the next version of rock and roll from punk. Punk just didn't want to see change. Much like we didn't want to see, like metal didn't want to see change and stuff either, or allow difference. Like it's maybe just that bullheadedness that was just like, fuck this metal shit. And then through time, when it like became realized that like, look, I don't know, this is just, it works. It's like the next, you know what I mean?
I mean, they're not that different if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Back then it wasn't really as divided. It was just like heavy shit. It was new.
Yes.
It was like new music. And it was like, fuck, I like this band too. I like Doom, and I like Shit Noise Terror, and I like, you know, all these bands were coming out, and it was just heavy shit. And like, you get them all in the fanzine. It's like all these different styles. You didn't really divide it up like all crazy. Like,
I mean, you know, I guess what I was saying was like the if you go back in time, you know, I'm going back to like early fucking 80s, right?
Yeah.
Like when punk and metal were kind of sort of separate scenes. So when they got together, at first, again, they had like the punk rock guys were punk only, and the metal guys are, hey man, that's punk, that's not metal. It was kind of but then if you think about it, like you said, it's not super different, you know. It's like, hey, well,
I mean, some of these old punk bands, they were doing solos, like old Suicidal, like they were doing solos pretty badass, you know.
Well, I mean, if you think about a classic band that kind of sort of blended the styles too, was Motorhead.
So the funny thing is, like, those are just like variant styles. Where like, if you even looked at like the shit that has been like today, where like you got bands doing like trumpets and crap, like just going off the wall for extremity. That's like, at that point, there's definitely shit that's like labeled some form of metal where it's like, come on guys, this ain't a fucking subgenre. This is just an entirely different form of music. That when you look at that and then look at metal and punk, because that's all it was too. It wasn't like it was like, you know, heavy, thrash, speed, all these different variants. It's like, no, metal, punk, two different little genre differences. That's not very far off, you know.
But like back then, like they would have these shows at Fender's Ballroom in Long Beach, and they would mix the two bands together.
Right.
You go over there, and it was a pretty dangerous place, man. Like you would have like 50 suicidals right there, and they'd be like carrying ice picks to be stabbing people, and you're like, you stay away, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was pretty brutal, man. But you were there. I liked the music, you know, it was fucking heavy too.
So I'm very curious because, you know, it's funny that you said Devastation was even the predecessor name for Sadistic Intent, because Rodney Dunsmore, the vocalist of the Texas Devastation that I know and love, and obviously there's then the Chicago ones, so the ones that really took the name and ran with it. But Rodney, you know, from the more classic one, when we did an interview with him, we were talking about, you know, obviously he's in Texas. You know, I'm in Ohio, so I'm down here looking at these things and analyzing them, wondering, like, something about, like, the Latino culture makes things a little more brutal and just dark. And, like, you know, if you think about, like, like the Brazilian scene, like early Sepultura, like people wildly hail that for like the brutality. But I think like, dude, like Mortuary, Blackened Images or something, or Shubner-Groth, like from the Mexican scene, like, dude, that's a whole different league of its own. Like there's just that Mexican quality. Now I'm going with the assumption that some of the more descendancy is of Mexican nature as far as you guys. So like,
I mean, we're of Mexican descent, obviously, but like these bands, when we did our first tour out there, it was like an eye opener for us too, because we were like, what the fuck, these guys have these
we're from LA, you know, so you know, those bands are like from Mexico, like they grew up there.
I know,
totally.
You would think Mexico would be kind of like out of it in a way, like not really on it, but they were into the shit. When we went to go over there, it was like, holy shit, these guys are into it, man. And these bands were coming out. It was like a...
I think, you know, honestly, I think what it is...
Like set on top and stuff.
Yeah, I think what it is, the as far as like like you said, like the imagery and stuff, I think like in Mexico... And you know the influence of the Catholic Church.
Yeah,
it's been kind of handed down. It's been kind of
pushed right there.
It's a pretty, you know, pretty strong. Has a history with Mexico.
Totally.
And so the people growing up from generation to generation, they just grow up with this religion, and it was like our parents. They were not super hardcore religious. Maybe like some other people might be, but we did have a upbringing. I remember going to church and seeing Jesus on a cross and he's bleeding and just that
shit.
vision, like he looked like a real dude on the fucking cross. And it was pretty dark when you're a little kid watching that. Like, oh shit, this is kind of trippy. And just the high ceilings of the church. And just there's like this, like this presence because you're a little kid. Like, oh shit, God's watching you here. And people die for you. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit. It was kind of like it was this. But the thing is, once you start growing up, and we got into metal, it was sort of the little by little, you just start
getting out of it,
growing up, and start studying history, and you start realizing, fuck, I don't know, man. I think this
start opening your eyes.
Yeah, we just kind of we kind of found a way out, but that background, that feeling of this divine thing that's watching you, and we just rebelled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just kind of like, but you still have that vision or whatever, and that way we kind of flipped it. We just kind of turned around, and now we're doing it. Basically, it was for me, all this darkness actually represents freedom for me. And I feel like that's part of our music. There's like a message behind it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to say, like in Mexico, it's stronger like that. So when these people rebel, they're like real satanic kind of style. Some of these guys, like.
Well, it's
almost... people take it different. Like you say, sometimes like they still will actually. Like have this like, hey, God's watching me and I'm mad at God or whatever. They're kind of have like this kind of pissed off attitude towards it, and they're angry. Yeah, kind of like a pissed off Satanist or something. You know what I mean? Sometimes.
Totally.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of what it is sometimes.
Kind of like negative. More negative.
I don't know, people have different views. You know what I mean?
It's totally.
But one time I mean. People have their own interpretations, and yeah, Mexico, it's some of the guys, I think that's kind of part of the the like you said, like it's kind of brutal and oh fuck, you just kind of have this.
It's like forced down their throat almost. Like what's interesting too is like, probably because the nature of hell, I don't know, of society, I guess. If we're like Norway being like some, like the I guess setting for a lot of black metal, and we all know that is fine, and it is what it is. But like it's almost like shit, man. If like places like Mexico could have their shine of popularity, like some of that stuff, I guarantee you would have been far more brutal if there was like a scene to be had on a bigger upscale level that was like a la, the Norway scene and where it went. Like if that happened somewhere.
Like the first time we went out there in 1991, was it? 91, right?
91, yeah.
91, we were young, man. And they took us out there, our first tour. And we're from LA, man. Fuck yeah, we're walking around with our fucking bullet belts on and, all metaled out. And everybody was like, had their hair tucked in their shirts. And we're like, what the fuck's going on, man? What's up with these people? And we're walking down, fuck that, we're from LA, man. Fuck yeah, party. We were like, all cool walking down the street with our our gear on. And this car's pulled to the side. And we're like, what's up with these people? It was like a family. And they jumped out of the car, they threw us against the wall with guns to our heads, now we're like, what the fuck? We're like freaking out, like, like, what's going on? And they're searching us and, like, taking off our boots and looking for drugs. And we're like, what the fuck? You know, we're about to get our heads blown off right here. And the guy's telling all the U.S. this and that. Luckily, like, they let us go, but it was a scare, you know what I mean? And it was like, shit, over there, they said they will take you in and they'll cut your hair and they'll fuck you up. And it's like, holy shit, man, you know?
Yeah, it was, they're like undercover police.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
And I think that's what well, like, when you were describing that, though, and explaining that tension, I guess, is really probably the real word of essentially a country's society. Like, I think that's what fuels that brutality, that darkness that's in the Mexican formula. Like, I don't know. So that kind of segues what I've always, like, really analyzed and loved about you guys is you have a sound. You really have a nobody sounds like Sadistic Intent. That's the Sadistic Intent guitar tone, like, and it's also transcended. Like, it's like on the early days, like, it was almost Swedish buzzsaw, but then on the Conflict Within demo, but then it, like, and then even, like, Calm Before the Storm 7-inch a little bit, but then it, got more, I guess, bottom end, and I don't know, now it's, like, maintained pretty much a, continual
You're right about that, because back then I actually used to use that HM2 pedal, that heavy metal pedal.
Yeah.
I used that back in the early days, and this is before, I had no idea what Entombed or Nihilist was using. I had no idea back then.
It's not heavy metal, you needed it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what they were using,
Right.
We were in contact. We wrote to each other. I mean, the Nihilist guys, they wrote to us in 1989. And back then, I used to talk to Chris Reifer from Autopsy.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember Chris. Again, we used to write to each other as well. And then one day, Chris is like, "Hey, man, here's my phone number. Give me a call." So I called up Chris. Like, "Oh, shit, cool. I want to talk to Chris." And I still remember him. "Hey, man, we were talking about, different stuff." And then one of the things I remember from the conversation is, "Hey, have you checked out Nihilist yet?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, I've been seeing their name in the fanzines, but that's one of the bands I'm going to write to. I'm going to write to those guys." And back then I had a big fucking box full of mail, a bunch of letters. And I got to write to these people, but once I do, I'm going to write to Nihilist. And it was hard because you would write a couple letters, but then you get more letters. So it was damn, nonstop. It was just a bunch of mail. So,
but not as bad as email.
But then, but one day I remember the mailman comes and he drops off some stuff, and you go to the little box and get your stuff, and it was kind of like you sort of felt like a kid at Christmas or something, like, "Oh, got some packages," and get this letter, and I see the address. It said Sweden. It said Nihilist. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, stamp on the rubber stamp.
Yeah, the Nihilist. Fuck. And that's the first time I heard those guys. Like, fuck, they're fucking bad.
It was the Drown demo. That's still one of my favorites to this day.
And so but again, we were in contact, but I never asked them, "Hey, what kind of pedal do you use?" We had the same pedals back then.
You forgot to say that, Chris, I guess.
Oh yeah, Chris Ryford. I remember, one of the things I remember about Chris, I don't know, this is kind of funny. When he would sign off, it would say, "Stay sick," and that was the first time I heard that. Back in the old days. Yeah, stay sick. I never heard a term "sick" before. That's trippy. Yeah. But,
I remember one time my daddy goes, "Hey, your friends are here. You want to let them in?" We're like, "Our friends, okay?" And he walked, and Autopsy walks into our bedroom. We're like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
we actually
we used to put our home address in the demo days.
We did a gig with Autopsy, and the flyer, they actually put it on one of their re-releases for the Sever Survival, the Sadistic Intent Autopsy.
We heard them down in South Carolina.
Yeah, we that was the first time Autopsy came to Los Angeles, and we played with them. And like what Bay said, we're in the bedroom one night, and my dad's like, "Well, I'm gonna let your friends in." "Yeah, who is it?" "Oh, some long hair guys." Like, "I don't know. That's all our friends, I guess." Right? So next thing you know, Autopsy walks in our bedroom, like, "Oh shit, what the fuck? What are you guys doing here?" They're just laughing. Yeah, that's a cool little memory.
Yeah, for sure. So when I've always kind of wondered what, like, talking about sound. So like a big key to the sound was from Impending Doom era where, Enrique was doing vocals. And, Bay, you're just playing bass. What was like, was that like, how did that kind of come about, like you becoming the vocalist? Was that something that was always kind of thought about, wanted to do?
Well, Enrique, he started kind of flaky, He was just getting kind of flaky.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Enrique got a job at Century Media Records, and he pretty much got into, the music business thing, and he's like, hey, well, I'm gonna start doing this more record label stuff, and I think he kind of made that his priority, I guess. Mm-hmm. And after a while, it was just kind of like he was kind of in and out, and for me, it was like,
like he wouldn't show up to practice, and if he did, he wasn't there, I guess.
Right.
He was just, it was just kind of like we're jamming, and he's like laying down, and it's like, what the fuck,
I mean, like I said, he had his own thing going on basically. In the end, he started up doing his label, and he was back then he used to work for Century Media.
You know how it happened? It was a gig, and I guess we all decided we wanted to do it. He didn't want to do it, and we all decided. And he showed up, but he ended up leaving. He dogged us pretty much, and Rick's like, all right, man, you're going to sing now. Fuck, I don't even know the words. Go in the car and practice. And like 30 minutes before we play, I'm like, what the fuck? And I was trying, and we ended up playing. I think Pete was there from More Radio and stuff. And
nice.
It was pretty rough, but I tried. And then, like, it was another show the next day, and he ended up dogging again, so I tried again, and after that, it's like, all right, you're going to sing now, like, and that's how it landed on me.
Nice. Because, I mean, I love, that era with Enrique, but, like, to fathom, like, him to have done, the other songs, like, I just can't think of any other voice. Like, it brings it full circle, and, like, there's just, and like, the fact that you dark sadistic death metal, like, there's really nothing better to label that, because that's like it, like, that Mexican conversation, like these just darker leanings of things that, like, however they are in your blood or whatever, to give it that sound, like it's something unique.
Well,
and it's always been cool.
Like kind of touching on what you were saying. Mm-hmm. We grew up in I guess, I don't want to say it's like the roughest part of LA, but, growing up, it was a rough, area where we grew up.
We had neighbors killed on both sides and stuff.
Yeah, we literally had neighbors, murdered on the left and murdered on the right. So,
right.
Like, my parents had to sleep on the ground because they were doing drive-bys like every week, man.
Oh, so, we had some rough stuff that we seen, we were, I guess, for me, I think like that was kind of part of the metal made me feel strong, and I'm like, this heavier type of music, it just felt right for me, I felt more like, fuck, gave me strength, hearing the stuff that we do when we play on stage is like, rah, we're fucking, it's energy,
Yeah.
And we feel our music, and it's like, it's I think part of that again, the stuff that we seen when we were younger, we had friends killed, so this again, somehow that was part of our the psyche or whatever, it was just a little contribution to
like even like the backyard parties got ruined because gangs would show up and they start like shooting people and stabbing people, and it was like,
damn,
it was kind of a messed up time and stuff. So
fuck, yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, part of it, yeah. Again, I like you were talking about earlier. I guess we happen to grow up in a Mexican neighborhood or whatever. And, it's kind of the, we
grew up in LA. It's like a melting pot of cultures.
When we first, back in the 70s, there was a little more white people there too. But little by little, they're just kind of like, not as many. And it's just, I don't know what it is, but, people are fucking pretty pissed off for whatever reason. It's kind of rowdy, the neighborhood and stuff.
Right. And, it's all a different dynamic, though, too. Like, like being LA is obviously going to have its kind of cultural impact, be even in the gigantic city that it may be with the cultural influence. A lot of its proximity to Mexico and stuff is going to bring in a lot more Latino influence than I would experience here in Cleveland, where then I'm going to experience more like European influence through the melting pot culture, this area of the world or country was founded on, and all that stuff, and that might make it more Teutonic or something in maybe my blood or something. And like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting, because even the United States itself has like sounds. Like the LA scene to like a Bay Area scene is totally different. Dark Angel. In a way, Dark Angel, like Slayer too, they're darker bands than a lot of the Bay Area stuff. And it could be kind of the stuff that you just described because they're from LA. And like, it's unfortunate history, but we all know some of the shit that has been in LA history that could have written
it makes you a little smarter in a way, like you learn street smart, I guess. And it helps a lot, it's like, you get these people that come from areas like, what are you doing? Like, you don't do that,
Right.
And they don't even have a clue.
But like Dark Angel, Slayer. That's pretty much, we grew up in the same neighborhoods, So it's we kind of come from that same area. Like right now, it's kind of a trip, but we're in Downey. This is actually Metallica's hometown when they first started.
Oh, really? The Metallica house or whatever is there?
He used to go to school here. When Metallica first started, they were in Downey. We were on the other side of the bridge.
Once you go to the other side of the bridge, it's kind of more rowdy.
A little more rowdy, on the other side of the bridge.
This side of the bridge is nicer.
Yeah, we pretty much, that's where we grew up. And those bands inspired us.
So you want to be on this side of the bridge.
But,
well, Darkthrone Records is there.
What's kind of cool for me? Dark Angel. I remember getting a letter. I think it was like '96, I believe. And it was basically somebody who likes your band. Hey, I like your band, your music, whatever. And at the end of the letter, it's signed by Jim Durkin. I was like, what the hell? No way. And I wrote back, hey, by any chance, are you the ex-member, Dark Angel? He wrote back, yeah, it's me. Like, oh, shit. I thought that was really cool. That was really, special for me. It's kind of
would come in. That's how we ended up putting we have a right. We kind of like a verbal agreement. And we put it out.
Yeah, that was really cool. And also, like, later, I remember... actually, earlier than that, even before that, I remember Dale Lombardo from Slayer when he go see us play. We're hanging out with Dale Lombardo. We're like, oh shit, fucking Dale Lombardo's here. That was really cool. And then he mentioned us he did like an interview, and they talked about, is there any other bands you like? And he brought us up. Like, oh shit, no way. I thought that was really killer.
Yeah, that is. Really I never knew any of that. This is going to show you how much of a dork I am. About knowing the band's discography, that you went back to like shit. I might not remember definitively where it came from, but there was like a rehearsal tape or something else rare as fuck, where then you went back. Fuck, I forgot what the song is. More is it Horrid Thoughts? Yeah. You went back to basically a rehearsal tape. And plucked an old song and like finally did it, which is really, really cool. And it makes me wonder, is there like more stuff that like, are there like old other songs too that like? Actually, I think I already know the answer, but I'll let you.
Yeah, there's some other songs that we do, but I mean, I don't know if we'll go back or not. I mean,
like that one complimented the Darkthrone song.
Oh, I see.
Well, I mean, so basically, the way this record kind of came about, you know, the song "Malignant Spirits" was actually written for Possessed. So when we were Possessed, that was the first song that we had finished. Not the lyrics. There was no lyrics on our side. That was Jeff's job.
Right.
So Jeff Becerra had the music.
Yeah.
And it was very inspired by Possessed. I remember, you know, when we were in the band, personally, I wanted the stuff that we were going to do, I wanted to have the feel of Seven Churches and Beyond the Gates. That's
right.
what I wanted to bring that back as much as, you know, as close as we could. And as far as the guitar tuning, you know, Possessed, they used to tune to standard E, like the regular tuning.
Totally. What do you guys tune to?
We tune B. We tune low.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could never put on my finger what the tuning was. B. All right, sweet.
Whole other extreme.
And
very nihilist of you.
Yeah, and I asked Jeff, I go, hey, Jeff, do you want us to tune like Possessed?
Yeah.
And he's like, he goes, I want it to be fucking heavy like Sadistic. Like, all right, cool. Because like that means I don't have to get into the guitar now. You know, I already got my fucking, you know, my BC Rich, right?
Right.
And so I was like, cool. And we kept it. You know, when we do those songs, the Possessed songs,
they sounded heavier.
It sounded,
yeah.
It sounded cool. It was kind of somehow like.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like Holy Hell, for example, it sounded fucking mean. I thought like, oh shit, and Jeff was like doing it, and it was. I don't know. I thought it sounded cool. I'm pretty, you know, again, I'm pretty satisfied the way we did it. And a lot of people told me too, I don't know what the fuck, but it sounds fucking heavier. And we were, you know, like, oh, okay, cool. You know, they wouldn't even know. Like, I don't know why, but it just sounds heavier.
Well, it's like many frets down difference. Yeah.
But
somehow it worked.
It worked. Yeah, I thought it was cool. But anyway, so we had started writing some new songs, and you know the main riff for Malignant Spirits, like
it's totally like thrashy.
That riff actually came out. Jeff was right next to me at rehearsal, and it just came out. It's like fuck yeah, fuck it. It just came out. It felt right. And I was like, hey, do a thrash beat. And we started, you know, doing the song. And from there, we just started building it. And Bay came out with the riff. Like, fuck. It just felt like Possessed. It did. And you know, the thing is, you know, I feel like with Sadistic Intent, like, as far as, like, the music goes, like, if you call it, like, a toolbox or whatever, I think we have a little bit more... you know, the beats in our toolbox, because when you listen to Possessed, like the classic Possessed, it was kind of more. It was more like a little more like boxed in, like the style. Like it was like, hey,
dude, you know, Mike Sus on Seven Churches is not an accomplished drummer.
You know, there's not as much beats going on. It's kind of like, you know, and I feel like with Sadistic. We got blast beats. We got the thrash beats. We got we got the that kind of punk feel.
Oh, it's one of the biggest things I love about the band is the drums. Like it's just
we have a little bit wider. I feel again musically a little more beats. You know,
it's that Slayer in you.
Rick comes out with the beats. Rick comes out with the drum beats already before.
Yeah, well, you know, I like to come out with drum beats when I write riffs. You know. So it's always been that way ever since the old days. Like, hey, I got this beat in my head, play this one. Hey, I want this there, this, you know. So it's always been like that.
Yeah.
And so when I would hear Possessed, you know, it's like, hey, well, you know, Possessed kind of the toolbox is again, it's a little smaller. So in my head, when I was trying to come up with new stuff for Possessed, it's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna stick with those tools. You know, this is what tools that they have, and I'm gonna stick with those tools. And that's how that song came out. You know what I mean? And I remember, you know, Jeff was like, oh, fuck, it's all fucking good, all right, cool. And he started writing the lyrics for it. And I remember, hey, record me the song, put it in the computer. And he had the song on his, you know, computer. He had a laptop.
Yeah.
And he would, he'd write the lyrics. And I remember talking on the phone with him. Hey, look, I got some lyrics. Let me read to you. And so that was going to be our first Possessed song. It was already there. It was already, being written and stuff. But at the same time, we didn't want to use our brand new songs because we're kind of saving them for the full length record. And we're like, fuck, what can we do? Like, well, we were doing a Darkthrone cover.
Right.
Yeah, with the Fuck Off and Die. And, I remember back then, talking to Fenris. And, he's a really cool, good old friend of ours. And, I would see him, like, wearing our shirts. He would mention us, like, in interviews, And I felt really, like, fucking, like, fuck, man, that's fucking cool. Fucking Fenris is, like, fucking, like, just to have his support meant a lot to me. And I remember at the time, they were getting attacked, like, oh, fucking Darkthrone, what did you change your style? Like right. A lot of negativity, when they did the Fuck Off and Die.
Yeah.
And, and we could have easily done, like, one of their, the Corpse Paint. We could have done, like, one of the old fucking A Blaze in Northern Sky, something off that record.
I was slightly surprised by that.
Horns. You know what I mean? We could have done, like, something like that. Like, that shadow on the horns.
Right.
But, I wanted to support what they're doing now. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we could go back and, do the fucking, the Corpse Paint era, but we want to do, I just felt like I want to support Darkthrone today. And it was, it just felt right to do it. So we did it. And I remember we were learning the song, and then after practice, we were rehearsing, and we were, me and my brother talking, and it's like, hey, I told baby, I think this would be a cool song to bring back. And it's like, hey, don't tell me, like what? Like horror thoughts. Like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So we had that, you know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, we both felt like, yeah, let's bring back that old sadistic song. And yeah, it's you hear like we talked about earlier, the kind of punk influence. And that's the Darkthrone was going to as well, right? There were like a lot of people are calling it punk rock.
Right.
Now. So again, it just
it matched those songs better. I see. That's cool. That's cool that to look at it that way. So
yeah, it inspired us to bring that song back from the past, and I think it's a good song, honestly. I'm glad we did it.
Great.
We brought it back, and
we added a new element to it too.
We added some solos. There was, back in the old days, there was just no solos. So like, hey, let's add some solos.
Plus, you could hear it devoid of tape hiss.
Right.
Lots of it too. It wasn't the best recording. That
original. That was a garage recording, man.
Is that what it is? Because I can't. I just know the song. I don't remember.
I think it was a 7-8.
What the hell the recording it was?
We call it Morbid Faith. It was called the Morbid Faith rehearsal.
Is that a legitimate demo then? Because the Metal Archives, which isn't the best of always, it's pretty damn good sometimes. But Metal Archives mentions a live demo.
And it was 7-8 rehearsals.
Yeah.
Yes, live.
That was legit.
Live. I mean, basically, I think it was one mic, right?
I think our Joel, he had his little tape deck and he hung 2 microphones on the.
Was it true?
Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He hung 2 microphones and we just pressed record and we played it.
Yeah, it was just live. Well, back then, one of the reasons we did it was John Fender from Fender's Ballroom. He wanted to hear our band. This guy was booking like fucking all kinds of crazy shows back then. Like he had like a lot of the punk and metal shows. Fender's Ballroom's kind of a legendary place here in LA, in Long Beach.
Okay.
And back then the bands, just to give you an idea of the bands that played there, Dark Angel played there, GBH played there, Creator played there, Destruction,
King
Diamond, Exodus, Celtic Frost, Possessed.
The greats.
Yeah, it's a legendary place.
Right.
Yeah, so his side business was construction, and my dad used to do flooring, so he used to work for him.
Yeah. Wow.
And he pretty much got us our first show right there.
Yeah, it's like, I guess basically he was like, my dad telling him, hey man, my sons, they got a band. They play that heavy shit. Those bands they play there, they're like that style. And like John's like, I don't know, Vern. I got to hear these guys. I don't know, man. Because this is heavy shit. Because these bands are heavy, man. You know, he was telling my dad, you know. And my dad's like, no, man, my sons, they're fucking heavy, man. Well, I don't know, man. I got to make sure, you know, because these bands are really heavy. This is like crazy, you know. They got to fit, you know. And my dad's like, hey, guys, like, he wants to hear you make a tape. Like, oh, fuck. Well, fuck it. Just fucking, you know, hang up some mics in the garage. We're going to do it. Fuck it. So we did a tape. And that was, you know, kind of one of the reasons we did that back then.
And that was our first show. I was like 15 years old, man.
He liked it. I was like, hey, man, that's some heavy shit. I remember, you know, my dad's like, hey, John Fenner wants to talk to you. And I went on the phone, hey, what's up? You know? And like, hey, man, listen to your band, man. Fuck. That's some heavy shit. It's a pretty garage recording, but it's heavy shit. Like, all right.
This was a Golden Voice show, too.
Yeah, and I remember he goes, hey, how do you guys feel about opening for Dark Angel? Like, fuck, shit, hell yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much put us on the show, and like Golden Voice, you know, it's his place. He got us on the show, and they were kind of not too happy about it, but we kicked ass, and after that they were calling us, man. So it was a good door opener.
Yeah, it was Dark Angel.
Dr.
No. It was Dr. No, which was at the time the punk scene was really big, so they were like a big band. And then the Future Slayer drummer, fucking Forbidden played.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And,
wow. Like years or shit.
Yeah, and you know, so we did good. I mean,
yeah.
And after that, you know, the promoters, they were like, oh shit, you guys want to play with fucking, you know, they started inviting us to do more shows.
They started calling us. I mean, we were like totally into it. We were young, but we were already into like heavy shit, you know, like blasting and everything. So we were like, fuck that, we're gonna come out all brutal and.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean,
we just did it.
All I remember is the first song. You know, that's the only thing I remember is like just fucking headbang.
I know,
we opened up a Morbid Faith. That's all I remember. Morbid Faith.
Our motto was like headbang like your head's falling off.
Well, you know,
go as crazy as you can.
Yeah. So it was cool. You know, we actually had 3 pits. I mean, the place was packed. It was
like a couple thousand people there. Right?
Yeah, it was like they said like about 2,000 heads at least. So it was badass.
Wow.
But that tape that we were talking about,
yeah,
it was back in the day, you know, they kind of got us the gig.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it was kind of,
dude, I mean, honestly, it's like I led this whole conversation with is to put like in the words more, you know, sadistic intent, like is underground death metal spirit. And that's like, you know, everything that you've said tonight, it could be really traded to that. Like, there's just that deep-rooted passion, and a lot of it feels familiar. You know, I feel the same way. Like, you know, there's bands and stuff. They lead you on a journey. They disappoint you. You feel betrayed. Then you get a fire inside of you, and that similarly happened to me when, I don't know if you remember this show. Back in Chicago. What year does it say the year? Fuck, it does not. But I was a special guest to the Cafe Laura show in Chicago, Crucified Mortals, opening it up. Right. And I remember that, and like that was like, you know, a lot of what you were describing Slayer, like when it's like, dude, we're gonna be playing with Sadistic, you know, like I remember turning to my drummer specifically, like their fucking drummer doesn't fuck around, so you know, like they don't sound like shit live, we don't want to sound like shit, but then like being totally stoked too, because you know I'm from Cleveland, so like, you know, you guys, you did play like the East Coast and stuff like in early 2000s. But like you didn't really, I don't think you ever came to Ohio at that point. So like the opportunity I've seen you was like pretty slim. So that was like my first time to see you, was then it's like to play with you too. So it's like, fuck, this is awesome. So I just kind of wanted to.
Wait, you guys are killer.
What's that?
I remember you guys. Yeah, you guys are killer. We're checking you guys out.
It's even better,
awesome. Yeah, I remember. Bay needed some duct tape or something for the banner. And then the guys from Cyanide were there. Do you know those guys at all, Mike and Scott?
I mean, we're familiar with the band. I don't know those guys personally.
Yeah, I remember the name, of course. You know,
right?
Maybe we met. I'm sorry if I, you know, and I feel bad. Like, oh shit, maybe we were in contact.
Oh no,
but yeah, you know,
we get that big better.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
they're a good band. Bad Night's a good band, old school.
Yeah, well, and all that that's what's cool too, is like, just everything, like whether everybody like knows each other specifically, like knows each other's bands, and like it just keeps that scene going. And like, no, it's just very much like what I feel, even what we do here, like on the channel and stuff, and with my label, like it's just very much, it has like that community underground spirit that it's like, you want to push like what like keeps this alive. Like what else is going to be the future of like extreme music, shitty ass YouTube music? Like that's not a fate that I want to be a part of. So but so
I mean a lot of us have been doing it for a while, like you and everything, we're going to be doing this forever, but we're here now, it's kind of amazing all the time that's passed and everything.
Well, for me, I mean, like metal, it's pretty much a cult, and it goes back to, again, for us, started with bands like Black Sabbath, and once it started getting heavier, the next generation, like Slayer, and, like we just talked about Possessed, which we were a part of for a while.
Right.
And then it led bands to, like, us and other bands around the world, And it's like there's this, again...
Well, like,
you can't come up and do like a fucking like Linkin Park or something. And, we're metal. We're playing Linkin Park. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? It's so there's like you have to do it right. There has to be some kind of
foundation. You gotta pay your dues, man.
Yeah. I had to fathom 2 seconds worth of if somebody from Linkin Park did the exact same call that Jeff Becerra did and got Sadistic Intent to be the backing band for Linkin Park. How interesting that would be. I had to hear that for the hellacious 2 seconds thought that's worth.
Our underground credentials were revoked.
We ruined.
But that is kind of the point, that some kid could absolutely love Linkin Park and then eventually find the true dark side and love you guys and then dismiss all that bullshit because there's something about the camaraderie and the things. Well, like I said in the midst of like you talking about playing with Possessed, like eventually when you feed your passion, any passion really, but especially with music, like it kind of comes back around and shows its appreciation by giving you awesome experiences like to be in Possessed. I
mean, you're right. I mean, to be fair to, like, again, I mean, sometimes people are new to the music, and like, let's say, I don't know if you've ever heard of a store called Hot Topic, for example.
Oh yeah.
It's a big store, right? They're like all over the place, all the malls, whatever.
Yeah.
They have shit like Asking Alexandria, kind of. Yeah. That shit's not, for me, that's not real metal, okay?
No.
If you think that's real metal, I think you're a poser. I'm just going to say it,
I have zero questions for Alexandria.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you think that's real metal, sorry, dude, you're a poser. But, but sometimes, again, there might be a kid who discovers Slipknot, and that's, but for them, that's the heavy shit, look. And then they come to Darkthrone Records, and then they open up to a whole new world, like, holy shit.
I mean, we don't put the guy down, we try to kind of educate him, you don't want to make him feel like
it's like we say,
they won't come back,
It's like we say, join us.
Exactly. Yes.
You gotta educate him.
Hey, was that
again? We're trying to keep this music alive, And sometimes people might start with funny bands, right? It's like, it's not really real metal, but maybe they'll start getting into the real shit little by little.
Well, and to be adult about it, like it's just. It's not the same vibe. Linkin Park is not fucking dark sadistic death metal. We do not think alike. Right. We do not have the same values and things we're striving for. The same, all the shit you talked about growing up and having that in your culture, that's in the same thing as like what fuels attitude and tone in music. And it's everything. It's fucking everything. And like somehow we're like in a stage now where some of that god awful shit is like classic, and then it's like just breeding in, and like it's like, oh god, like I don't know, I don't want to be at that poker party where Sadistic Intent's jamming and all of a sudden it's just a Slipknot soundtrack. No, go back to Sadistic.
And if you think about like here going back to Dark Realm, I mean, we've had lots of fucking cool bands come in here and do autograph sessions.
Yeah.
You know, over the years, like some of the bands have been here. Sodom. We had Watain come by. Yeah, we've had Destruction. Creator.
Exodus with Paul Bailoff.
Yep, Exodus with Paul Bailoff. Man.
That's awesome.
Morbid Angel.
Morbid Angel.
Dissection. Grave. Entombed.
Yep, all these guys have been here.
Dude, that's another lost art. Who the fuck has like in-store signings of, even if you're a latest flavor popular band? Like, is that even a thing anymore? You know?
I'm surprised we even had so many that you know, it's kind of difficult, man.
Yeah,
one of the bands are kind of busy. You know,
the scheduling. He's headlining bands a sound check around 5 p.m. And that's like the worst time to drive around in LA because the traffic is horrible.
Right.
But yeah, somehow they make it here and they're down. They want to come, and it's it's cool.
Yeah, lots of killer bands over the years. You know, like the different styles. You know, for example, we had Exciter come in.
Right.
And then we had Dimo Borgir, you know, come in, and then we had Ada Noir come in, and we've had Disaster come in, and you know, just different bands. You know.
Yeah.
And so. But yeah, we're trying to keep metal. Mayhem, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You know, but it's all like, again, that's all metal. That's like the real metal. You know, it's not gonna be, you know, some funny, you know, stuff. You know.
No, I definitely agree, and then honestly, so if anybody's like watching this for the first time, you made it an hour and 48 minutes in here, and you all of a sudden you just didn't know who Sadistic Intent was. Well, that is a great introduction, and shame on you for taking so much time to press play on the music, and you had to listen to the discussion instead.
Yeah. Like Sadistic Intent, if you think about it, dude, like if you think about it, like we've been around since the 80s. You know, we've been around.
Yep.
We were like, and you know, it's just a fact. We're one of the first death metal bands to come out of Los Angeles. We're one of the first.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Araya went to our high school from Slayer, so that's really the beginning. Like, fuck, you know.
It's awesome.
You know, we're going back 30-something years, and that's what we want. We're gonna be a fucking heavy band. Fuck yeah, we're gonna go that direction. And you know, but the thing is, we never had a big label help us. You know.
Nope.
So we pretty much were underground. We've been underground all these years. We're still underground, but like somehow. Like, we've managed to fucking tour all kinds of countries, and we've been to places like Greece, you know, we've been to Chile, we've been to fucking Norway, we've been to Australia, Singapore, fucking Germany, and these places get fucking packed.
Right.
And some of these guys will come with every single thing that we've ever done. Like, look, I got all the fucking colors of your records. I got the rare 7-inch. I got this. I got that.
Right.
And if the people, they're, you know, again, you know, they're there. It's just a trip to.
They're like real fans, you know. It's different, you know.
You know, and these people sometimes like I remember, like, I'll give you an example. We were in Germany, Hell's Pleasure Metal Fest, fucking amazing, badass festival. In Germany, it's in the middle of the woods, and it's about 2,000 people there. It's about 2,000, and people are coming up to me. Oh, I came from Italy to see Sadistic Intent. Oh, I came from fucking England. I came from Sweden. I came all these different places. Like, oh shit, and you know what? The one of them that kind of I thought was really cool for me, is interesting. They were telling, please do not put up the record, don't do it. I was like, what? They were like, I like that. It's Sadistic Intent, fuck you. They were like, fucking, we're drinking, we're being kind of fucked up, and Sadistic Intent, fuck you. It was like this German, you know, fans, you know, they're like, don't do the record, fuck everybody. Like, you know, oh shit, okay. I'm like, hey, well, you know, but it's just cool that again, you know.
Yeah.
People around the world, we go to different countries and they're there. And, you know, some of these people happen to be in bands, you know?
Right,
it's like, oh, shit, you know? Like, these are people that I like their band, you know? And like, oh, fuck, this guy likes our band, that's fucking badass. And it's just, it's cool. And again, without the help of a big label, you know, we've been on our own, you know? Again, I got to give credit to Costa of Iron Pegasus, you know? But, you know, I'm talking about a big label helping you.
Yeah, no, I totally mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Costa, again, really cool guy. I think he's great quality. And that guy, the reason we worked with him, he supported us. Even before he did a record label, he had a fanzine. It's called Tales of the Macabre. Tales of the Macabre was a really cool, he had that right attitude, like just this old school death black metal vibe. And when he told us, hey guys, I want to do your records, I'm like, fuck, we just felt comfortable with the guy, and we gave him permission to do it all and stuff. But you know, like I said, it's underground, you know? And for being an underground band, again, I mean, to have people like you know, again, I already mentioned Fenris earlier, but he's one of the guys who supported us. You know, the guys from Watain supported us. I remember even fucking Silmarils and Duma Borgir. I remember they played over here. It was they were playing with Cannibal Corpse, and we went to the show. It was packed. It was sold out. It was like fucking, I don't know, it was like 1,800 people or so. They was at the Palace. It's a big show. The dude comes out wearing a Sadistic Intent shirt. We're like, what the fuck? Oh shit, trip on that. That was a, you know, nice surprise. And you know, again, I remember Stefan Huskins. He was just recently in Sodom, the drummer, and he got a tattoo of our band on his calf. You know? I'm like, shit, he got a tattoo? What the fuck? Oh shit, that's badass.
Or even like some of the bands like we like Ergahol. Yeah, Ergahol. They hear I went to go see him, and you wonder, like, fuck, I wonder if these guys even know who we are. And the guy was wearing our shirt. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, man.
Another killer.
That's awesome.
Better.
Another one of my favorite underground black metal bands ever. These guys are wearing a shirt right now.
Yeah.
Orkustus. Fucking badass black metal band. This dude, we played in Norway, that's where he's from, showed up to our show wearing a Sadistic shirt. Like, fuck yeah. So it's like, again, you know,
it's like a mutual support right there.
It's, you know.
Oh, totally.
Just nice to have support from, you know. Another band's fucking killer. We hang out with these guys, fucking Archgoat, Nocturnal Graves in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Killer band. Yeah. Great guys. Again, the list goes on and on, you know. Interment from Sweden. Fucking, you know, those guys are all fucking sadistic and fucking Interment, hell yeah. I remember we played with Blasphemy. You know, they're like, they've been around just like pretty much as long as us, just about. And, you know, we finally met in Finland, and I remember, you know, seeing those dudes. I was like, fucking Blasphemy, and they're like, fucking Sadistic Intent. Like, yeah, all right, what's up? You know, so, you know, Black Witchery. You know, these are all people that we like, fucking, it's like, respect these guys, and, you know, we like their music, and it's like, it's nice to have people like that.
Right.
You know, I know sometimes, you know, not everybody's underground, but for me, I think the underground people are the more dedicated fans, you know. I mean, yeah, there's like a lot, you know, some of the bigger bands, whatever, they have their fans, and they maybe never heard of us. Oh, I never heard of those guys. Well, whatever, I don't give a fuck. Whatever, that's the way it is. But we have the support from the true metal diehards.
Yeah.
That's I'm proud of that, you know. I find that, you know, it's not some trendy guy. Oh, I like death metal for a little while, and I don't like it anymore. That's, you know, whatever, you know. Right. We have the diehards.
The famous line, I grew out of it.
You know.
Right. So, yeah, I grew out of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
We've had support from the real metalheads. You know, I that's why I like the Sadistic Intent fans. To me, Sadistic Intent fans are the true metal fucking fans. That's why I see it, because they don't care if we're, you know, like some bands, like some fans, they have to. I've seen it happen, dude. I'll give you an example. Here. We had a Walkman, right? We let the customers listen to the music sometimes, right? You know,
yeah.
You know, there's a lot of underground. You know, not everybody knows all the bands. Right? It's a lot of bands. Like, oh shit, well, you know, you got to check it out. Sample, that's cool. Yeah. And I remember this guy, you know, he's right there for like 20, 25 minutes, and he's like, kind of digging it. He's telling me, hey, it's kind of cool. Okay, whatever. And then after he finishes, he's like, so what are all the magazines saying? Are they giving it thumbs up or 10 skulls or, you know? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I go, honestly, I haven't read them. I don't know what they're saying, but I go, you just listened to it right now. You told me you liked it a minute ago. I'm just gonna wait to see what everybody thinks first. Like what the fuck? Dude, you just listened to the record. Why do you need a magazine to tell you what to think?
Right.
I go, dude, you know what that is? That's being fucking trendy. I go, you can't even, like, it's like, dude, you just listen to it. I could be the only guy in the freaking LA. If I like a band, I don't give a fuck what everybody thinks. I don't care. Yeah. I liked it. That's how it's being. Like, you know, back in the old days, you know, we get underground demos and bands, and Like, hey, these guys sound badass.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, well, nobody knows him and nobody talks about him in the magazines. You know, like, who gives a fuck? You know, if you like it, you like it. You know, but a lot of metalheads, unfortunately, they're fucking trendy. You know, they gotta try to, oh, what does everybody think? You know? It's like, fuck. Just, if you like it, you like it. I mean, again, and that's the, I think our base, the people like Sadistic, those are the real fucking true diehards. That's why I see it. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to all of you out there that support Sadistic. Fuck yeah.
And I'm thankful that you've taken the time out of your day to do this interview. We've definitely covered a lot of ground, and a true fan would stick around for 2 hours, as it's been, to listen to it. And to that, I thank you, dear viewer, because if you're new here and you're on the internet, then you shouldn't need this reminder, but I'll give you the reminder that you need to subscribe, share, like, do all that crap that you do on the internet to keep this going so you can see cool content like Sadistic Intent interviews and not some shitty-ass crappy metal that has been overly described in this video. So get to work on that, and we'll talk to you next time.